All right, we are live. I want to welcome, first of all, Tammy and Dorothy and Daniel to this live stream. We're going to do some human design force field readings today. And Tammy, Dorothy, and Daniel have been so gracious as to volunteer their charts for this. So I'm going to start. And I'm going to welcome, we don't have anyone live yet, but I'm going to welcome those of you who are joining us in a few minutes or after this recording goes. And periodically throughout the recording, I'll probably stop if people come on and just invite people to come and comment. So we're talking about the human design chart in the context of what's known as a force field. And this is sort of the picture. This is actually the picture of my human design chart that I've been looking at all summer long. And to me, it's kind of like a Rorschach ink blot. and perhaps that's because I've got the channel of abstraction, the 6447. I'm seeing all kinds of things in here. So I want to just start by talking a little bit about the background of what this is and where you can get more information about it. And then I want to go through your charts. Tammy's going to go first, by the way, because she's got a live stream that she's going to over on the, or she's actually leading over on the quantum alignment. It's quantum alignment system, right? Is that their YouTube channel? Yeah. So you can follow her over there after this, and and I'll once that's done, I'll put a link to it in our description here so that people can find it. So let me just go over here and go through my slides that are designed to keep me on track. All right, so I've been kind of showing this in the YouTube community, at least the force field. I've put it up on the community page a couple of times and got some interest around what is this and how does it relate to human design. So I came across this when I stumbled upon some software that human design software that you can find at 64keys.com. And this software is actually geared toward business, and the languaging of it is very, very much in that type of a framework. So we're going to explore some of that languaging when we get to the various charts that we're going to look at today. And what I think is so incredible about the 64 keys, not to be confused with the gene keys, okay? Even though there are some aspects in the way that they've put together the algorithms in the software to read your chart, there are some aspects of gene keys and stuff in their Genius report, which is actually where I got this force field from. And I went through the certification training to read the Genius report and to do coaching around the Genius report for people who want to do that in their careers. But what I see in this force field, and this is like the first page of that Genius report, and you can find it in the 64 Keys software when you run charts. What I see in it is the answer to the question that a lot of my clients have around, what do I have to offer? Like, for instance, here's my chart, and I'm a projector, and I work with a lot of projectors, and thankfully I'm starting to work with some manifestors and some generators and manifesting generators as well. So, and a reflector here and there. But initially, when I started reading charts, a lot of projectors were coming to me, and we'd get into, what it means to not have a sacral motor defined, and all of those things about invitation and all of that stuff, and here to be a guide. And then we get into kind of like the languaging around these channels, these defined channels in the chart, and it would make sense, right? To, in general, it would make some kind of general sense. But then I'd always get the question, or a lot of times I get the question of, well, what does this have to do with my work? Or what really are my gifts and talents? And when I came across this force field visual of the human design chart, it started to answer those questions. Not only for me, but I've been looking at other people's charts, and I'm going to look at the charts of these three wonderful volunteers today, and it's answering that question on a very visual level of what do you have to offer, and what are these you know what are these, what are you taking in, which is these little dots down here that are closer to the center. And let me just switch over here, and we'll just look quickly at what we're going to be looking at today. We've got the defined channels right here sticking out toward the pushing out of the force field, right? So and you can see how the energy centers are around the circle here, and you can see that in this particular force field, the head center, the ajna, are defined, and the force field is kind of pushing out in that direction. And so is like the drive and stress, which is the root center, and the spleen center, which is the center for intuitive body awareness, are pushing out into the force field. So, and then, these little blue dots are the undefined centers in the chart. So in this force field, the sacral is undefined, the emotional center is undefined, the will center is undefined, the throat center is undefined, and the G center is undefined. And what that means is that there are ways that you are I jumped ahead here, but these defined centers are where you have an effect on other people, and the undefined centers are where you are here to be perceptive about the energies of those other people. And if you know about your chart and all of that, from traditional human design, you kind of you understand that. But what I want to share with you today is how simple it can be to understand what you have to offer, and not only in how you affect people, but how you're taking in energy from your environment and from the outside. Now, this slide is actually about the centers that have to do with action: the root center, the sacral center, the emotional center, the will center, and moving up to the throat center for manifestation. So all of this energy out here is about taking action, having an effect on others, if or being perceptive of others in the action mode. And then these centers here are about steering, how these are the energies that are the spleen center, the G center, the head center, the ajna center, the head center, are all about steering for expression. So you can kind of see how we're looking at this pie chart, and it's going to be interesting to kind of to piece together in a very concise way what each of these charts has to offer, what each of these designs are taking in, and how they're affecting others, either through action or through steering. So Tammy, I'm getting back to you guys. Well, you guys are here, so tell me if you have any questions or anything before we get to Tammy's chart.
No, no questions.
Okay, all right. So, are you guys as excited as me?
Yeah.
I'm noticing that we don't have anyone on the live stream, and I'm wondering if we have a glitch in the technology. Well, if we do, it will record, and people can add their comments later. So let's just look at Tammy's force field chart here. So I just want to invite you just to take a deep breath, maybe close your eyes and clear your mind, and then open your eyes, and then look at it without knowing anything about the human design chart and tell me what you think you see.
I see a tornado or a whirlwind.
No spider web.
For me, it looks like a clam or something.
Like a what?
Like a clam.
Yeah, I hadn't seen that. I saw the tornado and the whirlwind. A clam. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, it's like there's like these opposing forces that are, that are taking in the energy of emotion, taking in other people's emotions, being very perceptive about other people's feelings, being very perceptive. Let me read some of this to you, since it's kind of different languaging, the way that they're talking about it. Being perceiving the energy of others, the vitality to be active in phases, like in spurts, because if we cheat and we think about this as the undefined sacral center here, being able to use that energy, for action in spurts, success oriented. Efficiency oriented, and really knowing that by being perceptive about other people's energy, other people's life force and activity energy, being perceptive about taking in and being perceptive about drive and the drive and stress of others, ultimately taking it in, but personally being relaxed about and free of pressure, ultimately being free of pressure, and responding to external pressure, and also knowing what really needs to be done and what really doesn't, just from being perceptive of the outside. And then there's, taking in the direction of others. The design and orientation is about the direction, being aware of the direction of other people, how they identify themselves, being very sensitive to environments, being very perceptive about the environments that you're in. And in the context of career and business, not always being consistently available to the team process. Like sometimes you're there, sometimes you're not. Sometimes you can show up and sometimes you don't. And then there's taking in inspiration through the head and ideas and concepts through the Ajna Center, really being able to kind of take in the thoughts of others, unlimited potential of interest, capable of learning and understanding quickly, processing a wide range of knowledge, can easily tune out what you're not interested in, and sometimes you can even doubt your own cleverness. And that's in the ajna. And then in let's see, mental information, by taking in mental information, and then by taking in concepts and ideas, and then with what's related to the head center is the mental inspiration. And this is about taking inspiration in from the outside and finding out, really discovering or being perceptive about which issues other people are mentally dealing with. What are they thinking about? You're sensitive to the mental pressure of others. And you can ultimately distinguish between whether you're the questions that you're kind of taking in and perceiving are relevant, are in the context of what the mental activity and the thoughts that are going on, the ideas that you're sharing. Judy says from the comments, hi Judy, that it looks like a shell. So it's kind of like what Daniel was looking at, kind of like that clam shell. So do you relate to that, Tammy, in terms of feeling your own energy of of being in a shell, or is it more like the tornado?
You know what? I absolutely feel so so much love for Daniel saying that it looks like a clam or a shell, because I actually had a wall and considered myself, or never really understood how precious I was, and so I stayed hidden for a very long time, up until now, actually. I stayed very hidden and hid my preciousness, right? So when you think of a clam or you think of a shell, there's something in there, right? But we protect ourselves. And so being so open that I am, I had to build walls around to protect myself. And I see it as a whirlwind because of that openness, I can be in so many directions all at once because I'm taking in so much stuff. So I can sometimes feel or be like a whirlwind.
Interesting. That's so awesome. Very, very, very cool. Let's look at your chart in terms of, well, let's look at it with your human design chart next to it. And this is where we can see like your the intuitive body awareness and the willpower and assertion are connected through this, are the 4426 channel. So one thing that this force field doesn't show you is the actual channel, but when we're looking at it, you know, in this case, you know, how you're affecting other people is through your instinct, through your in the moment, knowing, your vitality, your let's see, what are the words that they use here? Attentiveness, alertness, anticipation, spontaneous decisions, intuition, instincts, and you give a sense of well-being to other people. And you also are a reliable source of power for what needs to be put into practice. It's the willpower, and making contributions. You can make contributions to communities, authority and dominance, good negotiators, and there can be this sense of ego strength with you. Does that feels probably right for you, I'm sure. So when you show up, like when you're being the projector that you are, right, and you show up with your energy field, with your aura, you're just exuding this sense of consistency in your level of willpower, and your level of your sense of well-being, and your level of well-being. It just kind of empowers other people. And then let's look at like the 4426 in the way that it's described through this 64 keys software and in the Genius Report. So let's see. So they're calling this, the short name for this is, for them, it's in human design, it's known as the transmitter, the spur my memory here. What's 4426? It's the salesperson. They're calling it entrepreneurship, sales, and sales talent. And you love to be efficient and to maximize the ratio between input and output. You can communicate contents comprehensively, and you have a talent for tactical approaches. So this serves as a fundamental basis for, in the context of career and business, for self-employment, and is an important talent in sales. So you know, if you've been studying your 4426 channel, you know, it's that channel where you can kind of transmit and persuade others to buy things that to buy into. Not, you can sell things, products, but to buy into whatever the concepts or whatever it is, or the practices that really ensure the survival and the success of the community or the tribe. So yeah, so you know, I'm wondering what do you see in this, and what do you know about yourself in your 4426 channel?
So it's so interesting. It's been exactly 1 year that I started into my human design journey. And when 1 year ago, I was working full-time as a projector. I was working full-time as a single mother in healthcare, which is a very, very demanding job. And I was running, actually a year ago today, I ran 2 half marathons in 1 month. And I completely burnt out. And it wasn't until October, November that I learned about human design and realized how off the chart I was living. And so slowly, actually very quickly, from last November until now, I've transitioned from being a full-time healthcare worker to being an entrepreneur, empowering other people to live in their authenticity and to energetically align to do so, to make life easier on themselves.
Wow, you really had a rapid transition.
Very.
Yeah, your whole world just kind of shattered and reorganized itself. That's amazing. So getting back to that that analogy, or that imagery of the clam or the shell opening up, being in the shell, you know, I can really see how you've through your own awareness of how you are perceptive here. And to just tie in Judy's question, she's asking where does it depict the totally open solar plexus? So that's here with feelings and emotions. So you know, and you can see how close in it is. So that's how you know it's totally open and there are no gate activations. But you can see how as you've really aligned with the awareness about how you truly operate, it's almost as though this is my abstract way of seeing this picture here of the force field. It's almost as though you've sort of stabilized the flow of perception that you're taking in from the outside with these undefined and open centers here. And this seems almost like, if you were to look at it in 3D, like I see all of those places that maybe look like the whirlwind underneath as the foundation of that flow that goes in and out of how you know other people. And then this part that's the 4426, the intuitive body awareness and the willpower and assertion, this high wire here is really that's what it looks like to me. It's like this high wire that you're stringing across so that people can, through your entrepreneurship, so that people can find their way across to what brings them more success.
I'd like to, for a moment, bring it down to the profile as well.
Okay.
So when you think about I'm a 6'2".
Mm-hmm.
So if you think about the 6 kind of being like, you know, living everything and using their life experiences and having lots of life experience to share with others. So that's kind of like the wide range, the whole. And then you look at the 2 as a hermit, who likes to, you know, be alone and needs that one-on-one space, right? And so to me, I see the whirlwind as the 6, and then I see the hermit, the shell, as the 2.
Interesting. Wow. And let me just add, since you went to the profile, what the 64 keys, how they describe the 6'2" profile, and they call it role model skills. Your authenticity means a lot to you, and as you can only become a role model and offer your special talents in the field that suits you. By means of your individual devotion, you make new things visible to the world and thus contribute to changes as a lodestar. So you are, that's kind of like opening the shell for other people in a way.
If you look at the 41, it's all about dreaming and having dreams, but it's the pressure of fulfilling these dreams. But not all these dreams are my dreams, right? They're my clients' dreams that I'm here to help make possible with authenticity and alignment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also by understanding or taking in and being perceptive about how they're using their drive and their stress, or how they're working with that pressure and stress of the undefined root center. Very cool. Very cool. All right. So do you feel complete?
I do. I do.
Well,
Thank you
are
so
we
much.
ever complete?
We're just up leveling.
Yeah, we're just refining or shaking it up and turning the globe around or whatever we're doing. Now, I know you've got to get off of here soon. I really appreciate you volunteering to come on. And for those of you who are watching that weren't here in the beginning, Tammy is actually going to be over on the Quantum Alignment YouTube channel doing a presentation there, because she's got a program that she's launching next week, right?
Next Sunday, yes.
Next Sunday on embodiment and embodiment to purpose. Is that what it's called?
Yes, it is. Embodiment to purpose. It's the solar transit of the next 6 weeks that we're going through. So it's loving ourselves, going through our fears and understanding our fears, pushing through them, and having a new level of self-expression.
Awesome. Awesome. You guys, Dorothy, Daniel, stay here because there will be a recording. Please don't leave me while she's over on her live stream.
Thank you, Sandy. It was nice meeting everybody.
Tammy. Thank you so much.
Good luck today.
Bye. Thank you.
Yes, good luck today. Okay. All right. So let's see. We've got, thanks guys for sticking around. I think we've got Dorothy next. So close your eyes, take a deep breath, and then open your eyes and tell me what you feel like what's coming to you, I guess.
I don't know, maybe like a flashlight beaming out.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of see it like
Going the other way, like a wake of a boat if you go in the opposite direction.
Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah, and Judy, I know you're commenting, so if you see anything, put it in. And there's somebody else there too who's watching, so feel free to comment if you want. Yeah, I kind of see it as an amphitheater, like yeah. Yeah, and the other word that comes up that may or may not be correct, because you are a manifester. You've got willpower and assertion that is that you're affecting other people by, that you're influencing other people by, that is for the purposes of manifestation. So that's one of the things that you're offering out into the world. And then you've got mental inspiration, concepts, and ideas that you're also offering into the world. So for me, what I see here is like the introverted aspects of you, where you're, even though you're a manifester, and you've got this willpower that is expressed, and that's really the characteristic of your manifester design, the primary characteristic. You're taking in feelings and emotions. You're perceptive about other people's feelings and emotions. You're perceptive about the life force. You're perceptive about other people's stress. You're perceptive about intuition and body awareness, and how other people are feeling, their level of well-being and vitality, and you're perceptive to the direction that other people take and the environments. So I don't know if you consider yourself an introvert, but that's kind of what came up, when I saw the picture. So this is your experiments. You tell me what you think you see or what's coming to you.
Well, I definitely consider myself an introvert at times. And then there are other times when I am just out there, but I think that is also at times when I am amplifying the sacral energy of those around me. But I am a bit of an introvert, and also I have the life theme, the incarnation cross of separation. So that kind of pulls me in now and then to be alone, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And the interesting thing about your chart, oh yeah, Judy says a fan. And hi, I'm assuming. Welcome. Yeah, I see that. I see the fan, and I also see kind of like, pulling in, or being with people here who are watching the show in the amphitheater.
my tribe.
Yeah, something like that. So yeah, so we take the right side, as we talked about with in this slide. And let me just see if I can go back for people who haven't seen this, because we have a few new people on. The right side are the root center, the sacral center, the emotional center, the willpower, and the throat center, the will center and the throat center. And they're all action oriented characteristics. And then on the left side are the spleen, the G center, the head center, or the ajna. The head center and the ajna, and their steering characteristics. So, we could talk about steering as being, in a sense, projected. And let's go back to your chart here. Yeah. So the steering here, you have some steering, you have some projected steering qualities, because you have the mental inspiration and the concepts and ideas defined, and you are here to be to influence people with your inspiration, with your ideas, with your opinions, with what you see, as well, when you're invited, because it is on this steering side. And then when you are informing, bringing your authority into it, you are here to, and I wrote this down because, let me see. Let me switch over here, because so that people can see what we're talking about. Head and ajna, mental inspiration, concepts and ideas. So when you are invited, you are invited to, with that channel of abstraction, and in the 64 keys, they call it reflection of experiences. It's a channel that takes in experiences of the past, so that you can make sense of them, eventually make sense of them, and they just kind of come together. So your reflective mind enables you to identify the meaning and significance of past experiences. And this is how it's like you're here to help other people make sense of their experiences when you are invited to do so. And by reflecting on memories, new and meaningful ideas can mature that can bring clarity to society and thereby advance social development, because this is part of the collective circuitry. So it's all about society, making sense of things that affect society. And then when you are informing, you've got the willpower. This is your manifestor, what defines you as a manifestor, the 2145 channel. So you're affecting others through your willpower and action for manifestation. And when you are informing, you are a natural authority. And this is part of the tribal circuitry. So, so when you are in community, in communities, you have this aura that sort of identifies you as being a natural authority who can collect and allocate resources with responsibility and justice. With self-confidence, willpower, and leadership strength, you make sure that hierarchic structures are maintained and aspiring persons are recognized or are promoted. So, so this is all about, not only it's known as the money line in human design. It's known as the channel of materialism. So it's all material resources that you are naturally an authority about within your tribe or your community. How does that feel to you, Dorothy?
Well, the last part you were just talking about doesn't really play out in my life. Being the authority as far as, money and resources does not play out in my life. I would like to have more money and resources, probably like most people. But I don't want to be in charge of them. I don't want to literally, sit down and write out the checks per se, but I do recognize what you're saying about coming across as the authority figure. I mean, I've had people in my life, and I guess that's also the 5-1 in combination with that, think that I have more to offer maybe than I do. I've been offered many jobs in my life without, going out to seek them, and they're not necessarily anything I'm interested in. And I've realized that I don't have the sacral energy for it, but I realized I didn't have the energy for it at the time, even before I knew about my design or human design at all. Yet people do kind of recognize me as an authority in certain areas, whether it's deserved or not. Did that answer your question?
Yeah. So people see you as the authority. You just don't necessarily see yourself that way.
Is probably true. Probably the insecurity of the one in the 5-1. Yeah. For the most part.
So let's go to that 5-1 profile, since you mentioned it. Solution oriented. Because of your solid mastery and basic principles, you can offer practical solutions which benefit many people.
Mm-hmm.
And you're interested in creating far-reaching and universal solutions.
I resonate with all of that. Yes.
Yeah. So I just want to invite you to kind of, or maybe just tell you, and you can do whatever it is you want with it, since you're a manifestor. Because I know I have the open invitation.
You absolutely do.
To just pay attention. And part of this is unconscious as well with the 45. So
right.
How it's being manifested may not be very clear to you. So, this is where you can maybe just look around and inform people that you want to have some feedback about how they see you as an authority, or if they see you as an authority.
That's a very good suggestion.
Yeah. And I think the key word here with this 2145 channel is self-confidence. Mm-hmm. As you continue to kind of align with your true expression, more of that self-confidence is going to come out. Mm-hmm. And when it does, there's going to be more of this assumption of your own authority.
Right. Yeah, that's a good suggestion.
Yeah. And those of you who are in the chat, if you see anything else, or we're sort of just tying it into this visual here because this is what I'm really interested in sharing. But if you see anything else that you that is of interest that you want to point out, go for it.
One thing you also mentioned about the 64-47 with the, the being projected and with the ideas and then tied into the informing. I do find that even if I'm not necessarily invited, if I inform, I often have people who are receptive to the sharing of what I have, the ideas, the inspiration that I have in the 64-47. Not always, not always. Sometimes people are sick of listening to me, but those closest to me. But in general, I do find if I inform first, saying, you know what, I had this idea, or I just discovered this you might be interested in, that I don't even necessarily need the invitation.
Yeah, just the receptivity, and when you use your strategy to inform, then
Right.
that's your gauge, or that's your connection point for that for that receptivity.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm finding this diagram fascinating too, so I'm really going to take a closer look at it.
Cool. Great.
The shape
Great.
is interesting, and yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's really interesting. And the thing about the 64 key, I tried to get them to do an affiliate program for me, but they're not doing affiliate programs. I asked them when I took the training. They're like, we just sell software. We teach people how to use it. We teach people how to coach people on this report, the Genius report, but we're not interested in that. But you can go to 64keys.com and you can get, I think, it's at least a month, if not longer, of just free access to the software. So, yeah. So, yeah, and I think it's also important to remember, when you have these qualities that affect other people, they're not necessarily for you. And I know with this 64-47, my own personal experience of having that is that's definitely not for me to figure out my own stuff. To make sense.
I agree 1,000% with that. Yes, that's definitely for other people. Yeah.
Yeah. So, assuming, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing your name right. She says your split definition also could have you lean toward considering others around you before taking action. Yeah, and we can kind of see the split here. Like, you've got this definition, this way that you're affecting others, and it doesn't connect. Like, none of this is connecting. And when we get to Daniel's, it's going to be really interesting. So to see that split.
And I really do always consider others before my actions. I don't see myself as the type of manifestor who just goes and does things, and regardless of how it affects other people. I mean, I've been informing my whole life. So I do take into, I do feel like, even though, ego manifestor, it's all about me, but there are a lot of things about me that's all about everyone else. So,
and also being very sensitive to the emotions and feelings of others, and and as you were in the deconditioning blueprint course, so that this is also about perhaps being not really wanting to ruffle feathers.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Definitely.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, and also sensitive and perceptual about all this stuff that people are bringing you. So awesome. Okay, so are we ready to move on to Daniel? Daniel, are you ready?
Oh, there's one more thing I'd like to say about your chart, Dorothy. I saw that you have the gate 45 defined in line 2. So this distribution of resources could also be, you said you don't want to do it consciously, and really the line 2 being the hermit. I guess it's really about being a bit leaned back and being like, okay, I don't really want to go out here, but people will, of course, project onto you.
Right.
That
that's a good point. I totally see that.
Yeah,
thank you.
I see that too. Yeah, awesome. Thanks for bringing that out, Daniel.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, great. Okay, so I'm gonna pull up Daniel's force field. Let's take a look at that. I love this force field because there is a split here. You can tell, that there's a lot of drive and stress and a lot of intuitive body awareness right here. I mean, and when we look at your chart, Daniel, I know, but everyone else can see that all three channels between the root and the spleen are defined. And then up here, it really almost looks like a triangle. Like you're very perceptive about the thoughts and the inspiration that's coming to you from other people. You're perceptive about who's trustworthy, who's not, how willpower can be used, what people have the will for. And then around that is this whole life force, the sacral center, using, or the sacral center really bringing direction to others through its connection with the G center, design and orientation. And then let me see if I can read that here to give you the context in our framework here. So you've got the life force energy, high energy, vitality, power. And when you're responding, if it's used for the right things, you can apply your energy in a satisfying way. You can be process oriented, and your energy, your life force just naturally unfolds within you. And then you're using that energy to provide direction to others, and to know who the other person is, to know who you are, and which direction matches your purpose. There can be a good, consistent sense of self-confidence, a consistent sense of your own self that sort of helps those of us who are undefined in this design orientation G center to sort of settle in and take your direction as our lead, if that's how our authority is if it's correct for our authority. So so I'm going to leave it at that with that. And then you've got the defined, that G center, that sense of direction that you are embodying and influencing people with, that gets to the throat for manifestation. So there's this sense here of being able to steer, or it gets to the throat actually for expression. Let me clarify that. Manifestation is on the action side. So it gets to the throat for expression. And you're in doing that, in having this consistent sense of expression, of direction, you are steering others in the expression of their direction. And then over here, where your authority is, because we know that from, feelings and emotions being emotionally defined, you have this sense of your own consistent feelings, emotions, passion that get to your throat for manifestation. So, and I just jumped right in there. What do you guys see? I'm sorry, I just got all excited. I didn't take you through the close your eyes, open your eyes. I just was like, look what I see. Sorry about that. So, Daniel, what do you see?
The first thing that I always see on this force field is just this giant spike upwards. I'm kind of wondering what that means. And it kind of, also fits my personality, where I sometimes want to just charge ahead and be like, okay, here's this thing, be it a mental idea or something I responded to. I just want to do this thing, and don't look left or right, just get it done with.
So when you see, like, your life force, your response here. And you see it connected to your fixed sense of identity and direction. How does that feel to you? Or maybe that's too abstract, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Does it bring up a feeling?
Does it bring up a feeling? Yeah, it kind of brings up a feeling of trust, and it's actually one of the channels I'm most curious about in my design, because I do have the sense that I can really trust my feelings, my gut feeling. Well, after I've written the emotional wave, that it takes me into really weird directions in my life, but yeah, there's always a sense behind it. So yeah, a lot of trust.
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, what's interesting also is like, there's no, like, first of all, there's the drive and the stress and the intuitive body awareness, the root and the spleen center, and all of this that's like right out there for people to feel and experience. Like they're feeling your vitality, they're feeling all of your instinct, they're feeling the stress and pressure that's coming from your root. All of that is just, it's not connected to any of this, and it's just out there for other people, right? And then you've got emotions here, which is your authority. That isn't, there, it's split. So there isn't any connection there. So let's go on and show your human design chart next to it, because that was something that was asked for here, and we were going to go there anyway. So it's like there's this foundation here. That's what I'm seeing, at least, the foundation. And you've got these three channels. You've got the 5432, the 3828, and the 5818. These three channels of that really channel drive and stress into this direction, or into this energy of instinct, of knowing, instinct and knowing. And this is all spontaneous. And then over here, you've got emotions. So I'm wondering also how you sort of reconcile your emotional authority with all of this spontaneous drive energy that's sort of being driven at the foundation of you.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing I'm still working on, because on the one hand, I feel like making decisions immediately in the moment, and also knowing instinctively knowing what has a good chance of working and what hasn't. And then on the other hand, I've learned through more or less trial and error that sometimes it's just a good idea to wait a little bit, and to find some strategies for myself. When do I make decisions in the moment, and when do I kind of surrender to a longer time of waiting, and then at some point making a clear decision and going with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And along with that, it's what has come to me looking at this is that this is all for other people. I mean, this is just what you provide others with. This sense of pressure that leads to instinct and well-being. So some comments here. Judy's saying kind of like a spinning top, like a toy, like that's what this force field looks like to her. And I'm assuming is saying that it's a very powerful chart. I wanted to talk about these three channels, but because maybe it will being something that you're offering others, right? And maybe that will kind of clarify why, or clarify the feeling between the need to wait for your emotional wave, or wait through your emotional wave as your authority for you and your knowing, and really what this is for. So if we think about this as being on the what do we call this, the steering side, right? You're steering other people. And these are projected channels. So the 5432 is, let me use their, is known in the way that the 64 Keys software is talking about it, as ambitious cooperation. So you're providing steering to others in by way of ambitious cooperation, and this means that you're strongly motivated to be successful and satisfy your own ambitions, and you don't shy away from hard work or show great commitment. You have the ability to accept a subordinate role that pays off in the form of hierarchical advancement. So this 5432 is kind of like the foundation of knowing how to climb the so-called corporate ladder toward success. You know, this being sales, as we saw in Tammy's chart, selling the tribe or the community organization. This being the allocation of resources. This is about coming together, using your own ambition to find your place within the tribe, the community, the business, whatever it is, and also being able to recognize others who can fulfill those ambitions so that the tribe or the business can survive and thrive. Is that a lot? That's that's quite a bit. So yeah. you have a lot of ambition, which I can see where you can really get caught up in that instinct in the moment when the pressure of your own ambition can take over. And then you've got the 3828, optimism and the fighting spirit. So this is all individual, right? This is in the individual circuitry. You're strongly motivated to fight for those things that are important to you. And you don't always choose the easiest path, but the path that gives meaning to your life. With your insistent fighting spirit, you can also tackle exceptional challenges. So you actually kind of bring this strength out, like you radiate this strength out into the world, into other people. You know, when you're really aligned with what's meaningful for you, you are able to, other people can sort of draw strength from that, you know, and know that if you're going to dig your heels in and fight, if it has meaning to you and it also has meaning to them, they're going to be affected by your fight in a positive way.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. And then the 5818, judgment for optimization. It's the channel of judgment. So you have the ability to discern what is not optimal yet, or where improvement can be made. And your critical judgment is the basis for, that can be a basis for your personal dissatisfaction when you're kind of turning it in on yourself. But remember, this is for other people. You're affecting other people with this. And you can steer other people with this judgment for optimization. And sometimes you appear to be a know-it-all because criticism is not always well received. So again, this is when you're using this energy for yourself, but you can see that it's really out here to affect and to steer other people in how they can make corrections, how systems can be corrected. This is in the collective circuitry. It's about what needs to be corrected in society, perfected, so that society can really move forward and thrive.
Yeah, that really resonates with me a lot. And I guess it's also being strengthened a little bit by the fact that that the gate 49 is in my incarnation cross. So I want a lot of revolution anyway. So yeah, it's a lot of drive to do that.
Yeah, yeah. And you've got this great ambition to have perhaps revolution. And then you're not afraid to fight for it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and steer other people in that direction just by the mere presence of yourself. So, and then over here with the 1222 being the channel that really is what you're listening to, what you're feeling into when you're riding through your emotional wave. It's about open communication. So you have this talent for communicating your sentiments and emotions accurately. And when you're in the mood, you're sociable communicator, able to inspire others with your sentiments, perhaps also through musical expression. So are you musical, or do you have musical talent or interest?
Well, I used to play the piano. That was a long time ago, and I started to sing at some point, but it's kind of underdeveloped skills at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah. So the one thing to be aware of in terms of how you affect other people is that your moods really have an effect on others, which is why you probably need to wait after you respond to something to feel it all the way through. So, yeah. And then, here with the life force energy, this is all about you knowing you. You've got these two channels, the 14.2 and the 34.20, or 34.10. Sorry about that. And the 14.2 is a creative, here in the way that they're explaining it, creative power and attitude, going straight from the sacral to the design and orientation, the defined G center. Very, very powerful. You have a creative power to shape things and drive processes. With your confident attitude, you can steer the direction of energy, which makes you the focus of every team process. It's like you can be the backbone of the team. So do you feel like have you been seen yourself in teams and seen this at play?
One thing I've seen is when I was part of teams, that I did affect the direction of the team. So when people were all over the place, like, where do we go? I made suggestions, and people more likely than not went on board with it. So yeah.
Yeah, and they probably made money too, because this is all about, 14 is about working for money, and 2 is like the supporting the direction of a team of this is part of the penta in business too, these 6 channels, supporting the direction of the team through the actual work and activity in the 14, and then steering the direction with the 2. And usually the 2 is like the key critical factor in a team when it comes to making money and stuff like that, or being prosperous, really realizing the prosperous direction of a team.
Yeah, the direction has to be correct.
Yeah. And then the 14, the 34.10, persuasive power. It's a channel of conviction. You can develop your strength with great persuasive power. So like you said, you're very persuasive when it comes to other people. Pursue your individual path, and you can't really be dissuaded from doing so, especially when you have a conviction toward where you're going and how you're using your life force energy. This is very, very individual use of your own energy that can empower others. And you can be very selective and demanding in terms of your work and how you do it. This 2212 and the 3410, this is like, these 2 channels to me, when I'm looking at them now, have a lot to do with being the creative and the artist. Like, how, and this is kind of a stereotype with artists, but artists can be, the stereotype of an artist is you have to be left alone to do your work the way you want to do it, and nothing else will do. It has to be, you don't bend on your creativity and your creative work. And I really see that with you. It's like, I bet you really, when you get into your creative flow, it's like, don't bother me. I'm focused on this, and it's got to be this way.
Yeah, pretty much. And it also feels to me like my main creative expression is really writing. And it seems to me like when I'm in a good mood, again, 12 to 22, the words just flow to me, and it's super easy to just write a whole article about anything. And and then I really want to write things the way I want them to be, and not be dissuaded by any kind of strategy to get somewhere.
Yeah. And then let's go back to the force field. We're talking about, I'm assuming was pointing out that somewhere in the chat here that it comes up like a spike. It's like there's this pinnacle, like once you get everything moving in the action part of you, and the life force and the direction part of you moving and aligned, it's like you reach this pinnacle of expression and manifestation, like your energy gets to that peak. At least that's what I'm seeing in the image. Yeah.
Some two directions.
Yeah. And she was pointing out also the 31-7 is a channel of leadership, which it's leadership ability. You can express pioneering strategies influentially. So that kind of goes along with the revolution, the fight, all of that stuff, corrections, judgment, all of that. And that's why you're often assigned to a leadership role. And you probably like to fulfill and shape that role, and shape whoever you're working with within that role. And in team processes, it's easy for you to bring in your contributions and be heard.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
Yeah. It goes straight to the throat there. That steering influence of your direction to the throat via leadership. Awesome. So I see a few more people came into the chat. If you have any, this force field is kind of like an ink blot, Rorschach ink blot. So if you want to contribute what you see, that would be really cool. Daniel, do you have any other questions or comments about your chart?
Well, one thing that I'm really still trying to wrap my head around is that the 214 is actually unconscious. So I have this very clear direction in my life, which my mind, of course, with 2 undefined centers, is constantly second guessing, etc. But there's really a force that seems to be moving me forward, and I wait to respond to things over time with my emotional authority. But it's really, it seems very, very unconscious. So it's like really necessary to surrender to that process. Yeah,
you're probably not likely to see that until you look back at what has actually transpired. And like when I was talking about how you have this influence in teams, where your life force brings direction to the team through your own sacral action, your own sacral response, and it probably results in some kind of prosperity or creation of resources that allows a team to express its mission. And it's kind of like, you probably don't see that, but you're showing up with the energy, whether or not you're consciously responding, or not, or you see the manifestation of your efforts. It's like that that ground substance. It's like the supporting stanchion within the team or the organization that makes it go.
Yeah, and I suppose also I don't necessarily even have to do anything with that, because when I'm in the room, all of this influences the penta already.
Exactly. It influences the whole penta just by your presence. And that's what all of these effectual qualities are, these ones that are really sticking out, that are understood as your defined channels on the human design chart. You just show up and it works the way it works. When your mind is out of the way, when you're really sitting back and you recognize, and in your case, Daniel, just because your chart is up here, that you're here to kind of take in this mental energy and this inspiration from others, and just observe it and watch it and enjoy it without doing anything about it, and the willpower as well, just seeing it and being perceptive about it. But the rest of this is just kind of going in response, or with the life force, and this drive and stress and instinct is constantly just sort of moving through you. And affecting other people and emotions as well. And there's really, and in just showing up and being aligned with your own response, you're steering others in a direction. And, and you're also acting from your own passions. So, yeah, it's, just respond and wait.
Yeah.
And other people are affected.
Yeah, it's that surrender piece, and sometimes it's really hard to just do that. Just be, just show up, and everything follows.
Yeah, just show up and respond and wait.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, I have been enjoying this so much that I decided that if there are other people who want to participate, have look at your force field in the context of your human design. I mean, your force field is your human design chart, but you want to kind of look at this image for yourself and really understand what that means in terms of your chart. I'm offering just a little mini workshop that's going to be offered 3 times. And I think the first time is, I should have looked at my calendar. I think it's next Tuesday or Wednesday, maybe Wednesday, and then Friday, and the following Tuesday, I believe. I have the link, I think, in the description box, and if it's not, I'll put it there where you can just look at the dates. I'm just asking that you just sign up for one, because it is going to be limited to 5 people. It's taken us like over an hour to get through 3. So if you want to look at your chart, if you want to kind of look at this, if you want to learn more about this 64 keys, the genius report from which this chart comes from, the force field chart comes from, and how you can relate that back to what you have to offer in your life and maybe your business and career, then we're going to be talking about that in this little mini workshop called Explore Your Force Field. So you can check that out in the description. If the link's not there already, I'll make sure I put that in, and decide on the time zone that's best for you, or the time that's best for you, because it's 3 different times, and I'd love to take a look at it with you. So awesome. Thank you. Let me get out of this. I don't know how to get out of this. I think I get out of it somehow this way, I think. Yeah. So I really want to thank Dorothy, Daniel, and Tammy was here earlier, so I want to thank her also for really coming on and being willing to play with me in this respect. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I like doing this. I think we might do something like this on a fairly regular basis, just because it's a lot of fun, and I get to see who's in my community and see what you're really about. So stay tuned for more. And if you don't mind, Dorothy and Daniel, we'll just stay on on. Don't get out of the call when I end the broadcast. Awesome. All right. So take care, everyone. Thank you guys who are watching, and thank you, Dorothy, Daniel, and Tammy for participating. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.
Bye-bye.